Well, congratulations, brilliant film. If you would all if you want to grab the mic and just introduce yourselves and your part in the film.
Hello, I'm Carl. I was Fidel in the film.
I'm Kelly, I'm playing Vinegar Tits. Molly.
I'm Richard, I'm directed it.
Darren Frank. And I'm Philip, I co-produced it. So he can't be here, unfortunately.
We just start with Richard, yeah. Richard, if you could just tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write the film in the first place.
Well, for years and years and years, I wanted to do a film based around Dennis Nilsson, not without the serial killing bit. So I took that as a starting point, the way he just collected bodies and had them around domestically, and then I thought, what if they're just figments of his imagination, and then they're like a psychiatrist and they kind of go to work on it. Yeah. And also, a friend of mine down the road when I lived in London was living in a halfway house, and I went to see them. I knocked on the door, and I opened the wrong door, and it was just this bloke standing in this room full of debris in his underwear. He was like bright red, massive guy, and he didn't say anything, just looked at me, and I went, sorry, I just shut the door, but that image just stuck in my head.
Yeah. Did you do much research on sort of hoarders and obsessive compulsions?
Well, I do obsessively collect and a friend of mine's brother had been living in a room naked on his own for 2 years, covering every square inch of the wall. There's lots of Franks of various degrees around, and part of that's me as well. The whole depression thing when I wrote it, I wasn't that well, so it was kind of.
Was it kind of cathartic?
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be made into a film, to be honest.
Really? Darren, did you? What kind of research did you do to prepare for a role like that? Was it maybe talking with Richard, or did you visit the other Franks?
No, I didn't visit any other Franks. I wasn't completely aware of what was in Richard's head to begin with before we start film, because it was quite quick, coming together. So my research was basically watching people with OCD on YouTube and just seeing these little habits that they tend to form. And I think something Richard said to me very early on was the voices in Frank's head are what seemed to drive him, and so I thought, well, maybe it's best if I shut up and don't do any research and just listen to what's coming from the outside.
You were telling me that story about your 5th birthday, which I thought fitted quite well.
Okay, yeah, well, So I related to Frank anyway, in a way,
Sort of the feeling of being an outsider.
Yeah, the feeling of being an outsider. What it was, there was a story that I told Richard a few weeks ago. When I was 5, I say 5. It could have been any birthday from 5 to 8. I don't have a clear memory, but it was one of those birthdays. And I remember my mum saying, okay, we're going to have this birthday party for you and all these people coming around. And I just thought, I don't like any of these people. There was a guy who lived next door, his name was Stephen Hall, and every day he beat me up. And she'd invited him along to the party, and it's like, why do I want to be at this party? So I ran away and I hid in the school playground, and I boycotted my birthday. And I'm still not very good with them. So I think I related to Frank in that.
Yeah, that's a very good story, because he's so endearing as well.
Yeah.
You really sort of feel so much for him when you watch him as well.
Yeah.
You just want someone to come in and be his friend.
But as for the research, I just allowed the voices that were on the set to make me do whatever, and I tried to not have too much control, which I don't think Frank has.
No. Richard, you mentioned that you didn't think it would get made. Can you tell me a bit about the pre-production?
Could you hold the microphone closer to your mouth? You cannot hardly hear
Oh,
you.
sorry.
Sorry.
I was just saying, you mentioned that it was hard to get, you thought you weren't sure if it would get made. How was the pre-production process?
Well,
raising
I
the
was trying to get it
budget?
funded in London, Film London, and that went on for about 6 months, 8 months, and just didn't happen. And then I sent the script to Philip, my old friend. We used to do a lot of work with Factory Records, Happy Monday videos and stuff. And Philip read it and just went, wow, okay, and gave it to an old friend of ours, Tom, who ran Northern Film and Media. And they had some money left over that was going to disappear in April at the end of the tax year, which they said, just do it. So from waiting, it just suddenly went quick.
Amazing.
Yeah, lucky,
And,
really lucky.
Yeah, and when you came to casting, how did that work? How did you
We went up north and looked at a lot of people. We got Ellie from a acting school, the little girl, Sasha, who's based on my daughter, Sasha, who also collects snails. We used to. And everyone else just, casting the process.
Cool. And in terms of filmmaking, your background's in music videos, isn't it? Or largely music videos?
Mainly, yeah, and
And-
short films, and used to do camera with Derek Jarman.
Oh, right.
On and on.
And so how did you get into filmmaking in the first place?
I bought an 8mm camera when I was 10. Saved up.
Started early then?
Yeah.
Always made films.
Yeah, and so just shot stuff on 8mm, and then used to do live projection with a band called 23 Skidoo. And I've just always put pictures and music together. So
Yeah.
just,
Would you say what the process of making a feature length to a music video, how does it differ?
Much longer.
Right.
And much harder, yeah.
Especially if you wrote it as well, I suppose.
Yeah,
as a
I
lot
enjoyed the
more-
writing bit, but like I said, I didn't think it would get made. In fact, we took a lot of scenes out. There were lots of other scenes which he went to a job creation scheme and was bullied by some girls, and he keeps meeting this chugger in the street and he bullies him, but there was so much continuous bullying, it was just insane. So we took about an hour out. I just realised I've written way too much dialogue. Timing it on paper and when you edit it's completely different.
Okay. Go on. Do you want to tell us a bit about your experience in the movie?
I forgot you were there.
I guess he likes to talk just like his character.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you want to
Would
ask
you
a
like to
question?
just tell us a little bit about your process in terms of preparing for the role?
I came on very late. I came on about a week before they started to shoot, and it was just, I liked it when I read it, and that voice, I heard that voice when I read it, and if something speaks to me like that, then I like to do it. Really, it's very rare that you read a script and it just grabs you straight away.
And I imagine it was quite a fun role to play. It's quite different, isn't it?
It was really fucking cold. I don't know how much fun it was, to be honest. It was hard work. We shot very quickly in a really cold house in Newcastle, in the middle of torrential downpours. I have to say, our makeup and costume was just about 100 yards from the set, which is this beautiful big old house in the middle of Newcastle Centre. And I walked down one Friday night at about 9 o'clock from the makeup tent to the house, and I was the least overdressed man in Newcastle that night. There were more guys dressed as women walking around on hen night and stag night. It's a fucking great city if you want a good night out. But yeah, as far as preparation goes, very little. Just as Darren said, whatever Richard wanted really was it. If it's my agent, it's whatever. What about you, Kelly? What did you do? How did you find the part?
I really enjoyed it because it was something obviously completely different to play a corpse who spoke, and it was quite challenging to do the sex scene. I'm glad my nan isn't watching tonight. But it's just a completely bonkers script, and it was just appealed. But it's different, it's unique, it's challenging. It's all the things that you love as an actor is something that you know, blows your mind. And so thank you. I really enjoyed it. I like being up in Newcastle, and where we filmed at Seat and Carew. People were lovely, and I think it's beautiful, and I think it shows it on the screen. It's an amazing place. So thank you.
Does the audience have any questions to ask the costumes that might give?
Yeah, Richard, could you say something about the actual equipment you used to get the shots? I mean, massive depth of focus and stuff.
We used a camera called an Arri Alexa, which had just come out. Then I think there was only about 6 in the country, and 5 of them were being used on Hugo. He had everything. In fact, he even had the wheels for our dolly. When we went outside, there's no rubber wheels. And Siska, our producer, tracked the 6th one down. And it's kind of, it's amazing new, I mean, that's not a very good copy. That's off a Blu-ray. I've been watching it before, coming off a hard drive, and it just looked so much crisper than that.
Yeah.
In fact, that looked all washed out. It shouldn't be that washed out.
I still noticed the extraordinary.
Yeah, it's an incredible camera. It's kind of, they finally almost cracked it. They're making digital look good. Yeah. But we used a short depth of field, you know, opened right up quite often. You literally didn't need any lights. I mean, we had all these lights and we just didn't use them. Because just daylight coming through a window, it can pick up the minutest drop of light. It's an incredible camera.
Can I just say thank you as well, because I enjoyed it so much.
Okay.
It really made me laugh. I was trying to stifle the laughter, because, and it was moving too, obviously. But, I don't know, I wish you kept more of the bullying in too, because my empathy
It was a
for
2-hour
Frank
film.
was-
No, it was too much. It was literally... yeah, I know.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I liked very much the clouds when you looked up to see the clouds were.
Yeah.
Was that a second? Was that a special effect?
You just leave the camera running for about 20 minutes,
Yeah.
which when it's a long time, you've got a crew standing around looking at a camera, sitting there on a tripod, and you're going, no, honestly, it'll be worth it. And then post-production, you just split the screen, speed the clouds up, and you keep the sea the same. It's a simple effect, but it doesn't mean you have to film it for about 20 minutes.
Richard, both the times that Frank found a corpse, he seems to be looking through something when he spots it. Is that significant?
Yeah-ish. I mean, the magazine's got a woman on it, so it kind of gets him thinking about a woman. And the shell was just something he's playing with. It just takes you into that next level of magic realism, which makes you think, is he creating it, is he, isn't he, are they there, kind of thing.
I get the back.
To me, it was obvious where the vinegar tits came from. She was in the way that she actually killed herself, a bit miserable or whatever. But Fidel obviously had quite a unique look. Was there any thought of where he came from, or did you just...
Oh, yes.
You know the backstory.
Yeah, no, you tell the story, yeah. This is what hooked me, this story. This is how he sold it to me over the phone.
Well, there was a backstory which we took out, which was Fidel was on a clown-themed orgy on a boat, and his girlfriend had just seen Fidel just go a bit too far, and she just hit him over the head with her stiletto shoe and pushed him overboard. That's why he's such a misogynist and hates women so much. But we took that bit out. We just thought, let's not have an explanation.
Yeah.
We got rid of a lot of script.
Mm. How could you say no to that?
Richard.
Oh God.
Did you ever date a girl who never farted?
Funny enough, that line comes from my brother. And I remember him telling me in the 70s that he had a girlfriend in the 60s who swore to him that that she had never farted in her entire life. That's a true story.
I haven't.
It's true.
I want to ask, because in the credits, in the titles at the beginning, you say introducing Darren. Was this one of your first films, or introducing in what way?
Yeah, my first film. I'd done two very small roles on film, on TV, previous to this. So yeah, it was my first major role.
Great. So, I mean, it was very well. The way you developed the character through it.
I was absolutely terrified, but Richard had such a strong idea, such a strong vision. I just thought, okay, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to listen to what he says. Richard asked me to make shapes with my body, so I thought, well, that's one thing I can do. I haven't got the most athletic bodies, but I can make shapes. And then when Con turned up on set, just give me invaluable advice about, know where the camera is, hold yourself in this position, make sure, find the light and things like that. So it was a great experience for me. I'm looking forward to doing more.
Frank too.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that again.
It's the musical next.
The bullying was hard. Yeah.
Have you found a distributor yet? Have you found any resistance to it? Have you found a resistance from the distributors to the nature of the film and what it's about?
I don't think we've shown it to any distributors yet. This is the first screening in London. I can imagine it's going to be a hard sell.
Seriously.
I don't know. I mean, the character you play is so wonderful.
It'd be nice to think that someone would take it up.
And take you home and sort of look after you.
I have to fight off me missus.
Oh, she could die.
When you do talk to a distributor, how would you describe the genre of it?
Oh.
Yeah, we've been asked that many times. I don't think it is generic, really. It's got so many different genres within it that I think that's going to be impossible. I wouldn't say it's a generic film, really. I think it's a very highly individual film.
Well, it was described to me as a horror film, and I think that is not the way to sell this film.
It's more of a comedy than a horror film.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's more of a comedy than a horror film.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, it's neither, but
it's a study of some description.
yeah.
I'm doing a thing on mental illness, and I'm reading about the mind, the thought patterns, that you've got to eliminate thought, which is the voices, and just focus on what happens. We're very zen, but that's a perfect example of that.
Well, originally in the script there was a lot of voices written going on in his head, huge amount, and we didn't use any of them. That would have been a whole nother layer, which we just took out. It's amazing what you think you need and then what you don't. We just used some subliminal whispering and we kind of hinted at it.
I think there's a question right at the back.
Yeah, Richard, I think it was a really profound exploration into mental health and beautifully shot. I think that's something I've not seen before. I was really impressed.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Will you be taking it to Venice or Cannes or anywhere like that?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, we're finding it really hard getting it in any festival. We've tried quite a few, especially Sundance, quite a few. It's not for them. Edinburgh didn't want it. I mean, I'm really pleased Raindance has taken it. For some reason, it doesn't tick the boxes that these places have.
Well, a lot of festivals want to have world premiere status, so once you have shown it once, then it's...
But this is for, I mean, Sundance, that was like last November or something we tried, and we kept getting no, I mean, it got silly. We were getting rejection after rejection after rejection. But I think it'll find an audience somehow. I don't know.
Times change.
I think when it does find an audience, because we had a few test screenings, and we had a screening in Newcastle cast and crew where friends came, and people we didn't know. And I think when it does get in front of an audience, we have a really positive response. I think it's a film people have to see to understand where it's actually coming from. And I think there's a lot of empathy in there with Darren's performance, and we've had a lot of really positive reaction actually from audiences. But it is a hard sell in terms of getting people into the cinema, I would imagine.
But I mean, do you not think that it's better if you do give it, you know, that if it does have some kind of genre, that it's actually easier to sell?
It would be, absolutely. If we could just say...
Well, can't you just describe it as a comedy?
Black comedy.
Well, you know, we have said it's a dark comedy, but then, you know, maybe you're building those expectations up for something that it isn't.
Have you seen the film Julian Donkey Boy?
Someone else mentioned that.
It's quite, I wonder what genre that was titled under, because it's quite a similar kind of exploration of an individual's mental state, and it kind of, it's quite ambiguous as to whether he kills someone within it. It's shot in quite, I wouldn't say it's the same at all, but it's shot in a similar sort of inside and outside his mind constantly. I'm not sure which.
What Donnie? I mean, it's not like Donnie Darko, but what was Donnie Darko sold as?
As far as I'm concerned, it's a Richard Heslop film, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as much of a genre as I need. Is that, you know?
But if those two films are successful, there's no reason why I don't.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Yeah,
it just
but
needs to be...
how old is that film? That film's...
It's old.
It's old film, you know, and 10 years ago people would take a risk, and these days, you know, it's the film industry it's all about making money. Trying to get a film like this produced even is next to impossible, and then to get distributed. When I read the script, I mean, I've loved working with Richard. I'm really proud of the film, but I'd be very surprised if it got distributed, because nobody's got any balls anymore. And if they can't establish it as a generic film, they don't want to know, because it makes their job harder. And you know, it's a shame, because it's art, and art should be applauded, not catalogued and defined by generic terms. It's a nonsense situation that we're in now. Festivals like Raindance are the only places you're going to be able to see films like this.
And if the audience was to share Frank with their friends and they wanted somewhere to view it again, do you have any plans to kind of put it on a website or anything like that for?
No, I mean, we're only in the first stages of people seeing Frank, and I'm sure it will have a life. And
I mean, that pay-per-view
people will get a chance.
Have Frank-themed parties.
Yes.
That's my suggestion. Go as your favourite character. I know which one you're going to go.
Is this the final edit of the film, or are you thinking of putting things back in that you took out from the comments and you might get from the audience?
I think we've run out of money. That's it.
But if you were able to find the money, would you do that?
I'd like to have another go at some of the sound.
Who wants to direct?
But we literally, I mean, it's such a small budget. I mean, incredibly small budget. So,
Yeah,
I mean, everyone was working for...
How much was the cost of the film?
How much do you think it cost?
Well, I thought it was brilliant. $500,000?
Yeah, it was less than $500,000.
A lot.
Yeah, that was my fee.
Less than the cost of a lot of pop videos that Richard's made. That
Well, I'll tell you, it cost about 120,000 when everything was up and in. That's how much it cost. Which is, I've made pop videos for 500,000. So it's a fifth of the cost of a pop video, a top-end pop video. Which puts it in perspective. Everyone worked for minimum, you know, it was just ridiculous. I got paid about 900 quid for 4 years' work.
That much?
Yeah. It's not.
No, I mean it couldn't. To be fair, it couldn't have been made. It had a fantastic crew and cast, who all contributed over and above. So you know that's the reason we managed to make it for the cost we did. A lot of favours.
I think we've got time for one more question if anyone's
Yeah, well, I know a company I'm with called Time to Change, which is removing the stigma from mental illness, specifically schizophrenia. And they'd love this if you edit it to make it more bullying and more, because it's from the mental voice. It's perfect. It's perfect for them. It really is. It's what it's like to be schizophrenic. It's fantastic. And
Yeah,
they'd love
I
it.
think when I first read the script, I thought it was, it was a very deep script from Richard and very heartfelt. And he had been in a lot of places and seen those sort of issues. So.
Being married, having OCD, that's funny.
Yeah.
But it's a serious problem because you think it's real.
Yeah, but Frank allows you to laugh at it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I used to have all sorts of tics and rituals, and writing it, I just remembered. I went for about 3 years of just having, about 7 or 8, one after the other. I don't know why, and it kind of went, but I kind of fed that back into the script. A little bit.
So it's a comedy, yeah.
The general consensus seems to be really, really good.
Oh,
So
good.
thank you for making such a heartfelt.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.